Alright, so I am wondering how granular to get with the Spanish weekend, the Spanish Grand Prix weekend. Why is that? Because I've been hyping up this weekend for a long time. People might think, oh, it's the Spanish Grand Prix. What would be so important about the Spanish Grand Prix? Well, everyone's bringing upgrades at the Spanish Grand Prix, and now they're throwing young driver tests into the whole mix. So, there's a lot to unpack. And if I do this in just one GP observation, I mean, I don't even know if I'll have space to render that video. But anyway, anyway, so these are like quickfire practice observations, I suppose. Let's run with the video. Let's see where this goes. Okay, Nick DeFries is set to make Latifi sweat. That's the first thing I noted from free practice 1. And yeah, he made him sweat. So I don't know what's happening with Latifi. Latifi might have to think about his time in this Formula 1 thing. And I'm not gonna edit this video in any like serious way. It'll just be like some random pictures that come up. But it's not gonna be like hot every picture. And I'm also not gonna timestamp. This is not a GP observations, but it is quickfire observations. So Latifi, he's got some questions to ask now. Some questions to ask and to answer, because on principle, you shouldn't be getting beaten by a test driver in a session. You shouldn't, just on principle. If you're the full-time driver, that should never be happening. If that's happening, your seat is probably up for grabs. So we'll get to that later regarding Nick DeFries. Yuri Vips replaces Sergio Perez for FP1. Red Bull proceeded to sandbag him. Very interesting. I'm not exactly sure what they're hiding from us in regards to Yuri Vips, but they decided to sandbag him. That was the most interesting, the most fascinating play, tactic by Red Bull. Truly. I thought they would give him. I could understand, like, for most of the session, sending him out on the mediums or the hards, and he's just like doing laps on heavy fuel. But at least give him just like, maybe like 10 laps worth of fuel. No, not even 10 laps. Just give him like 5 laps worth of fuel. Like, yeah, go do a fast run. Let's see what you can do. Let the taps loose a bit. And they didn't let him do that, so that was interesting. Oh, some of these observations, man. Tracing Martin. Present the green Red Bull. Yeah. Tracing points, Tracing Martin. Yeah. I was interested to see which teams took inspiration from Red Bull in one specific department of the car. Well, Tracing Martin, they took inspiration from the whole car. Now that is interesting, because that's Aston Martin declaring that the best car on the grid. So yeah, we'll see if that actually bears out, or actually something more likely is that that's just the easiest of the top cars to copy, because they can't do a Ferrari project, that they can't get that copied, and they certainly can't copy the Mercedes, but you can copy the Red Bull. And I suggested perhaps sometime early in the season, I'm not sure which video, maybe the silver lining for Mercedes, but I suggested earlier that the Red Bull car was maybe going to be a common endpoint of a heavy development cycle on a car. So Red Bull looked like they had a car that they brought out of the design phase that was kind of standard to the rules. Nothing really too surprising, bar some interesting solutions underneath the car. But it just looked like a highly developed car, just to the basic spec of the rules. Nothing really too creative or inventive with it, like zero pods or Ferrari's dipped pods or what have you. Nothing like that. So this was probably always going to happen at some point of the season. Although it is Tracing well, they say it themselves. They just look at pictures. But anyway. The Mercedes floor upgrade, that will be monitored over the weekend. That will be monitored even after FP2. Why is that? I mean, it looks good. Right now, we have to see what it actually looks like in FP3, because the setups are gonna get a touch more aggressive over the night. That's just the way it works. And I suppose I should probably get this out the way in this video, right? Why is Spain, this Barcelona-Catalunya circuit, why is it such a good circuit for bringing new parts, aside from being, you know, the first real stop in the European calendar, the European part of the calendar? Why is it this track? And it's this track because you can't actually hide your car on this track, right? That's why you bring your upgrades to Spain to test them for that race weekend, because you can't hide the car. Your car has to be good at all the things, just quite simply all the things. They've got their almost a kilometer long straight. Is it a kilometer long? Well, that's very long main straight. They've got a very long main straight. They've got long winding corners, tight technical corners, the chicane at the end of the track. That's all mechanical grip. You can't exactly muscle the car through there or something. You're really at the mercy of just how fast the car will do it. So you can't hide the car through setup or whatever. You can't hide the car. Your car is either good or it's not good. Paul Ricard, by contrast, is a favorite circuit of teams to bring parts to test because of those painted strips outside, on the outside of the circuit. It's very hard to wreck parts in a big way. It just is at Paul Ricard. It's very hard to do so because you spin out, you'll wreck the tires. You spin out or something and you're scraping along that high grip paint that they've got there, and it's harder in the red, you know, more grip in the red, more grippy. But it's very hard to really write off a car at Paul Ricard. So that's another favorite for testing. The circuit is technical enough, but it's not a Barcelona. So yeah, this is why everyone brings their. This is why I've been hyping up this weekend. Sainz much closer to Leclerc with home field advantage in FP1 at least. I don't know what happened in FP2. We'll have to investigate that. Sainz will be looking at that himself, so I shouldn't even. I'm really curious to see how Sainz performs this weekend. This is gonna make or break his season, as far as I'm concerned. At least with Ferrari, internally with Ferrari. Maybe next season he will have the pace to actually challenge for this thing after seeing Leclerc challenge for it and really wants a piece of that. Maybe he'll do that, but it'll really have to be a wait and see type of thing. Kubica replaces Guan Yu Zhou. I mean, sure, they're mandated to make these type of changes 2 times a season. I get it, but it's really just Robert Kubica was still on this. I mean, whatever. I guess it's money, right? There must be money attached to it. Alonso split the Mercedes in FP1, and he split the Red Bulls in FP2. It's a very interesting weekend we're lined up for. LED wheel guns at McLaren, disco wheel guns. I mean, we'll see them in places. I would be surprised if every team doesn't already have them. I don't really pay attention to pit stops because the pit stops are kind of needed nowadays. But anyway, a lot of people like the pit stops. A lot of people do like the pit stops. But anyway, these super quick pit stops, they're just not my thing. They are just not my thing. We need refueling back, but that will be a very unpopular opinion. And then we get into FP2. FP2, the turn 9 DRS activation zone. I got some question marks about that. I'd be very surprised if they don't move it forward by the time FP3 starts, or even qualifying if they delay it that long. I'd be very surprised if they don't move that forward so that the drivers aren't blasting open the DRS while still navigating the corner. I mean, Albon, he was going wide. He was like going on the gravel, and he's still popping open the DRS. I like the commitment, but come on. Someone in the steward's room has to be seeing that and be like, okay, we gotta stop the drivers doing that, because they're doing it. You wouldn't have expected them to have the cojones for it, but these are Formula One drivers. They always got their cojones for this thing. They were opening the DRS in the tunnel in Monaco, and they had to stop them. Well, not even DRS, right? What was going on there? The F duct. They were popping F ducts in the Monaco tunnel. So the DRS ain't nothing for a lot of these guys. Anyway, I mean, the steward should have a look at that. I don't know who's in charge of track safety. Massey's not in a job right now, so. I mean, Wittich Freighters, they should get on that. I mean, it's really obvious. If they don't, then I suppose they're just trying to open up some narrative to get Michael Massey back in. Oh, look, you need extra eyes on these things or something. Like, let's be real stupid about it. Nick De Vries, future world champion, commentary team were cracking some perlers today. James is dropping his esoteric knowledge about kids who make it to the commentary room being set for F1. So welcome to F1, Nick De Vries. Alright. Was that Ted that gave up? No, it was James. James gave up the ghost. But anyway. James gave up the ghost on that. Vettel goes quickest. FP2, 39 minutes, 30 seconds remaining of session. Vettel went quickest. That definitely raised some eyebrows. It'll be very, it will simply be interesting to see what the rest of Aston Martin's weekend actually looks like. We're gonna have to call them Tracing Martin if this is a good thing for them. We really are. But yeah, Vettel went quickest, and I'm sure if you were watching the session, that would have raised some eyebrows, some big question marks go off. Now, like, monster lap from Leclerc at 31 minutes 30 seconds remaining of the session. Really a monster lap. Yeah, he can be really impressed with that lap for Friday, and so can Ferrari. I mean, it's 3/10 quicker than Sainz in the final cut, and that's a problem for Sainz. That's only Sainz's problem. It's not really a problem for Ferrari. I don't see it being so. And if Mercedes' upgrades are real, right, if they really are the panacea that they've been looking for, then they might split the title contenders and have them starting in weird positions in some Grand Prix. Like Verstappen might end up starting fourth if Mercedes actually are contending right now. So it's going to be a very peak weekend, and Leclerc putting in such a monster lap at 31:30, and he still did some more soft tire running. Well, everyone tried to do some soft tire running later. Although we'll have to see. I suppose FP3, something to look out for. How much soft tire running do Ferrari give Leclerc? That's something to look out for. Will they just have him sit on the soft tire for the whole session, or will he actually be running some medium runs and hard runs? We'll have to see about that. Red Bull might be worried at 22 minutes 30 seconds remaining as Mercedes occupies second and third. I put a question mark here. I wasn't sure if they were going to retain those positions till the end of the session, but they did. With Ferrari in first and fourth. Now, it's noteworthy that Ferrari are in first and fourth because Sainz, he's always going all out at Spain. So for Mercedes to actually split the Ferraris, it's a problem. It's a problem not just for Ferrari, but it's a problem for Red Bull, a very big problem, if it carries through into the next day. Do I expect it to carry through into the next day? Honestly, no. Like, honestly, just no. I expect them to still be like maybe 4/10 or 3/10 off relative to Ferrari and Red Bull come the final tally of this weekend, but we really have to see what happens first. A strong swallow from Mike Crick. 20 minutes, 3 seconds remaining of the session after a freeze frame replay of the Tracing Martin and the Red Bull. It was a very strong swallow from him. If you got the film, go watch that. You might have a giggle to yourself. Commentary team talking about Mick Schumacher. I mean, I don't know if commentary team knows this about Mick Schumacher. Perhaps they do. Schumacher, by the way, is a great example of what a name can get you, because there's no other driver who would have 2 rookie seasons. Now they're trying to put like some judgment on Mick Schumacher and stuff, but really internally everyone knows that okay, the formula has changed. It's literally rookie season 2.0 for Mick Schumacher. He might drive a little better here and there than he would have last season, especially with the Kevin Magnussen. Revitalized Kevin Magnussen. I never would have told you K-Mag would be doing what he was doing this season. Quite frankly, I thought he shouldn't have come back. I thought it was wrong move to go and get him back, but they got him back and he's delivering, so there's nothing more to say. But yeah, they're talking about Mick Schumacher, and poor old Mick. It's just such a weird quirk to have, to, you know, be apprehensive first year in the new formula. It's just a weird quirk to have. I don't know if the paddock has time for that. We'll see what happens with his career. We'll actually make a Haas video a little later in the week, I suppose. Would be useful to address some news pieces around that. Mercedes fastest on the straights, 8 minutes 30 seconds left of the session. Interesting. As always, we have to see what happens the day after, but that was interesting along with some other things. So Lewis Hamilton's body language at the end of FP2 was noted. He was very happy in the cockpit when FP2 ended, so I'm assuming he's been convinced by something tangible or real in the car. That's the only assumption I can make. Likewise, he was smiling after the session and the interview. Toto Wolff also couldn't hide a smile. George Russell was still quite frank about it, but George, he noted some interesting things. They're no longer porpoising in the straights, but they're now porpoising in the corners, and you can actually hear it when you're right on board with them. So it's very interesting what's happening with their car. We'll see if that is actually meta shifting or if they're just still actually stuck in no man's land. The signs are promising from Friday, though. The signs are promising, and we're gonna have a granular approach with this weekend in general. So we'll be talking about the Saturday running as well once it's over. Christian Horner says it's only a matter of time before Mercedes click. He's right on that. Christian Horner noting criminal offense of tracing Martin on live air. I can't even spicy kitten that take by Christian Horner because he's right. I mean, you do have to actually find out if there's any criminal activity going on there. I get it, fans don't actually care about this, but I mean, the team's whole lifeblood is their ideas on how to make cars go faster. So you can't exactly just be having that information just being loosely available. So if Tracing Martin are just so good at the tracing, then so be it. You know, no one will complain about that, not even Red Bull, so be it. But Horner is right to be noting that it might be a criminal offense, but anyway, is it? Probably not. Tracing Martin, Tracing Point, they've done this mess before, and we really just have to see how they actually perform over the whole weekend. They might fall off tomorrow and be starting like 11th and 12th or something, who knows. But anyway, yeah, Christian Horner, he's got some right takes here. No mask, big smile from Sir Lewis after FP2. Army of fans waiting to see him. Why do I note the army of fans? Because this jewelry thing is not gonna go. No one's gonna get what they want from this jewelry thing. Okay, no one. That's how it works with this jewelry thing. No one's gonna get what they want. So Lewis, he'll probably be fined a few races here and there for wearing the jewelry. They can't ban him from events because there's people who are buying tickets for the event specifically to go see Sir Lewis Hamilton, and he's been wearing the jewelry all these years anyway. Pierre Gasly, there's an article about it. I'll probably put this in the video. I will probably put this one in the video. There's an article about him saying there just needs to be common sense about the jewelry ban. And it's just, you always get common sense from the last man you expect, right? But here we go. Pierre Gasly dropped some common sense. Just be sensible about the jewelry. Like, he's been wearing it while winning championships. You don't stop him then, so it's a little late to stop him. And also, some guys, they've got wedding rings and what have you. They don't want to take off their wedding rings. So now it's not only affecting Sir Lewis Hamilton, and now the FIA got problems. So, and now it could even affect the fans. And now you've got an uncountable amount of problems. Right, you could even have Circuit sue because they've sold Sir Lewis Hamilton as gonna be racing in this Grand Prix, and people buy the ticket just on that. Now he's not there, so they get sued or false advertising. And now the race organizers say, "Oh no, I'm going to the FIA on this one. I'm suing their asses because their stupid rules, which they couldn't follow to begin with, which better race directors, by the way, didn't follow because it was unimportant." Okay, your Charlie Whitings or some other man was spicy in there. But Charlie Whiting, he didn't bother with the jewelry ban. It's not important. Better race director by far. Anyway, it was very interesting to note that Sir Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff, they could not hide their smiles. George, he was smiling. He was doing his thing. It's all fresh and new to him anyway. So he was doing his thing, George. But Mercedes, like I said in the Mercedes versus the World video, when it clicks, everyone will know when it clicks. Has it clicked yet? I don't know. We gotta see FP3 and qualifying, especially qualifying. That's gonna be really interesting here in Spain. Really interesting. I expect all the YouTube videos on that people make on this qualifying session and the race to just blow up, because it's gonna set the tempo for the rest of the season. But anyway, that's the vid. Peace.
Hell breezy. Let me show you how to keep the dice rolling when you're doing that thing over there, homie. Hey, let's go! Cause I'm feeling like I'm running and I'm feeling like I gotta get away. Better know that I don't and I won't ever stop, cause you know I gotta win every day. Go! See, you really wanna pop me. Go! Just know that you will never flop me. And I know that I gotta be a little cocky. Go! You ain't never gonna stop me. Every time I come, a nigga gotta set it, then I gotta go, and then I gotta get it, then I gotta blow, and then I gotta shut it. Any little thing a nigga think that he be doing, cause it doesn't matter, cause I'm gonna dead it. Then I'm gonna murder everything and anything about it. Boom, about a bing. I gotta do a lot of things to make it clearer to a couple niggas that I always win, and then I gotta get it again and again and again. And I be doing it to death, and now I move a little foul. Nigga better call a rap, and everybody know my style. Niggas know that I'm the best when it comes to doing this, and I be banging on my chest, and I'm banging in the east, and I'm banging in the west, and I kinda give you more, and I will never give you less. You will hear it in the street, and you can read it in the press. Do you really wanna know what's next? Let's go. See the way we on it, and we all up in the race, and you know we gotta go now, try to keep up with the pace, and we struggling and hustling and set it, and I get it, and we always gotta do it, take it to another place, gotta taste it, and I gotta grab it, and I gotta cut all through this traffic just to be at the top of the dome. But I know I gotta have